start in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. LSU drops its second in a row, 70-67 the final. I have a lot of thoughts, but I will toss it to you first, Mr. Hill. Your overriding theme for the game.
Yeah, so exactly what I talked about before the game. You hold them to 20% shooting from the three-point line, and then you also hold them to 34% shooting from the field. You feel like you'd be in great position to go win on the road, but the things that I talked about before the game, turnovers and offensive rebounds. You can't give up 19 offensive rebounds on the road. Give them all those second opportunities to get to the foul line and get second chance points, and then just down the stretch again, just poor execution. Easton had a turnover. Gaines had a turnover. Those are opportunities you could have had a better chance to win this ball game, but you let those slip away. But I'm glad that they made a run, after that 7-minute mark, because things could have got really, really ugly there. You knocked down some threes. To say we shoot 45% from the three-point line, that's something you can work on. But, man, that was brutal to watch how that game finished off.
Interesting. I thought you'd go a different direction. I think the prevailing thought from LSU fans from inside the program is, man, you went on the road, dealt with the adversity of days going out earlier, didn't have Pinson. You fell behind by 13. The foul discrepancy was huge in the first half, and you fought and you scrapped and you clawed and you were valiant in your effort and you gave everything you had, and you can be proud of LSU, going out there and coming close and having a shot to tie the game at the end. And that's the prevailing thought. I'm just not there. I'm grossly disappointed at the result from last night, because this is a team that I have high hopes for. It doesn't mean I have extremely high expectations. They don't have to. I mean, it's just you're hopeful after the start to this season and the week they had beating Kentucky and Tennessee that this could really be a special team. And I'm not saying that it can't be, but every time you lose, your road gets tougher. And LSU had an opportunity last night because Alabama shot the ball so poorly, and that's what you had to have. And you mentioned that, and I'm grossly disappointed in the loss. I'm disappointed that there have been back-to-back losses for this team. I'm frustrated by days going out. I'm frustrated that Pinson can't play. I'm frustrated by the huge foul discrepancy. I'm frustrated by the bad decision-making and losing plays that LSU made late in the game. The turnovers are driving me nuts. I'm very, very disappointed in what I saw last night because LSU had a chance to win the game. I'm fully aware that it was 10 fouls to 0 early in the game. I'm fully aware that Pinson and Days essentially did not play. But Bama gave you what you needed. They had an 0 for 15 second half shooting the basketball. They missed free throws late in the game. They didn't play exceptionally well, but I gave you two stats yesterday that I thought were going to be massively important in this game. Turnovers, LSU had 20 of them that led to 21 Alabama points, and LSU needed to make their free throws. They went 9 of 15. They missed 6 of them and lost the game by 3. I'm not claiming that everybody needs to go out there and you need to go 15 for 15 from the line, but you shot 60% on free throws, and you lost the game on the road. You had an opportunity, and you let it get away, and now you've lost 2 in a row, and you still got another road game to come. So to me, I'm just really, really disappointed. There was some positive that I want to get to in this game, but there are way too many negatives for me to not start with those. And it starts with those turnovers, like you mentioned. And there are far too many of these turnovers that are being committed due to 0 of the defense. Nothing that has to do with defense. First half, coming down the floor, throw a ball out to Brandon Murray. He's standing on the out-of-bounds line. That ain't defense. Stand on the court. Second thing, Murray gets the ball, takes off travel and doesn't put it on the floor. Dribble when you take off. That should not happen very often. Efton Reed's 5th foul. Gaines doesn't wait on him to come set the ball screen late in the game. Gaines takes off early. Efton's still moving towards him. They whistle it 35 feet out for a moving screen. It's none of that has to do with any of the defense. It's just lack of execution. It's lack of focus at times. And there are 20 of these things. And sometimes you turn the ball over because you're dribbling down the floor and somebody makes a good play and picks your pocket or back picks you. Like, that's going to happen. But when you're standing out of bounds catching the basketball, like, you're just giving a possession away. And your defense is too good to give far more opportunities to the other team. And when you turn it over 20 times, and like you mentioned, give up as many offensive rebounds as you do, you're giving the team, even though they didn't shoot a good percentage, too many shots, and it's just too hard to overcome when your offense is struggling the way that it is.
Yeah, that's for me, and I think that's why, a lot of, like you said, a lot of Tiger fans are like, yeah, man, we gave a great effort on the road. Hooray, Tigers. I think for me, I'm way past that point with this team. I know how competitive they can be. I know just what level of defense they're going to bring in on a night-out basis, just how many turnovers they're going to force. the low percentages you're holding these teams to on the field. Those are type of opportunities you got to seize and you got to take advantage of and win those games. And I think we said it with going into the game. I predicted them to win that game, especially if they had Xavier Pinson. Gaines didn't make a shot inside the paint. He hit those big threes when you're down 13, but when you have a guard that's going into the lane time and time again and he's just not getting anything, just laying it up and nothing's going in, it sets you back. I think without Tari Easton's effort last night, that game would have definitely been ugly. He seems like a guy that you can count on night in and night out. I think now that's a guy I'm going to be pointing to. Let him just take it to the basket. Just be aggressive, take it to the basket. If you get fouled, great. If not, just keep attacking because outside of that, it's really just the offense is just sometimes just way too stale. You're waiting for ball screens. Yep. It's just very stale. And then the way we're finishing games, I just Coach Wade's going to have to figure that out. He's going to have to either you pound it in the paint, get some easy looks or something because down the stretch you're just dribbling into the lane, getting turnovers. That Gaines turnover just blew my mind, and then I know Tari got picked from the backside. He couldn't see them coming, but those turnovers down the stretch, man, I don't see that problem going away. So they're gonna have to figure that out real soon.
Look, here are some of the plays that I touted as, you talk about winning plays, making winning plays, losing plays that LSU made down the stretch. And trust me, I want to reiterate this as I did on the podcast earlier today. There is some positive from this game we're going to get to, but we're starting here. And some of the plays down the stretch. Tari goes to the rim. You're down 5, puts up a shot at the rim. He misses it. He's frustrated that he's missed a shot, that Alabama's going down the other way, and before they can, he comes back and fouls 84 feet from the basket for no reason other than that he was ticked off that he missed the shot. You cannot do that. Put him right on the line. You just can't do that. That's a losing play. Out of the under 4 media timeout, we got the ball, came down, and the shot we get, it was wide open, but is a fudge 3 from the top of the key. He made 2 threes on Saturday, played really well on Saturday, and he's capable of making that shot. It's not the shot that I want. And he hit all glass on it. Next time down the floor, LSU literally did not pass the basketball. You're talking about crunch time of a game that you're down in. Gaines dribbled around, shot a step-back 3, and didn't hit the rim. Now, Wade went nuts on Tuesday talking about how Gaines has to do that because nobody's moving, nobody's getting open, nobody's cutting. Okay, I appreciate the honesty. That's your fault. Like, it's the coach's fault that the players aren't doing that kind of stuff. Now, I don't believe that Will Wade had them come down there, didn't say a word, nobody knew what to do, and Gaines just dribbled around and shot. I'm certain there was some sort of concept that wasn't executed. But that seems to me, you could put me out there. I'm 45 pounds overweight. I hadn't played basketball in 15 years, and I could cut. I won't get open because I'm fat and slow, but I could do it. Like if you tell me what to do, I can run the play. And so, like that stuff should not happen late in a game in crunch time. That's 2 consecutive possessions. You got threes from bad shooters that never hit the rim. Then you come down and on a free throw, Eason lets Keon Ellis go over the top of him and poke the ball free, and it goes out of bounds off of LSU, and Alabama retains. That one didn't hurt as bad because you fouled him and they missed 2 free throws again, but you got to get the rebound on a free throw late in the game. And then the last one, you let Keon Ellis, their best free throw shooter, catch the ball in the last possession, and you fouled him. They had just missed 4 in a row, and you let their best guy get wide open and then go down there and make 2 in a row. Send 2 guys at him and make somebody else catch the ball. Like, that's something that we were really big on when I played in high school, is knowing who the best player. Now you have statistics. You know who the best shoot. This high school, we're just guessing. Yeah, that guy shoots a lot. We'll go ahead and make sure he doesn't get it. You can't let Ellis catch it. He's a 90% free throw shooter. He's the best in the conference. And they let him catch it. He makes 2 free throws, and you got to throw up a 3 at the end. Just plays towards the end at crunch time that they didn't execute. They just made losing plays. Now, they made some winning plays, and we'll get to some of that in the next segment and some of the positive stuff, but just too much negative to win on the road against a desperate team, that's got some talent.
Yeah, they definitely do have some talent, but to me, I think while this loss is gut-wrenching, you're going to be looking at the end of the season, looking back on some of these games like, man, if we could have just finished better down the stretch. Alabama did not play great. They had that stretch where they got the big lead, but, after that, they did not shoot the ball well from the outside. They had their share of turnovers as well. They were missing free throws, like you said. Those are all the things that you have to take advantage of, especially when you're on the road, when a team isn't doing things at a high level. I can see if Alabama went out there and they were shooting 50, 60% from the three-point line, just draining them. There's nothing you can do. You were right there. You just, like you said, the execution was just not what you wanted to be, and that's kind of what we've seen from this team. It's kind of a bad identity that they're taking on. So I think if you're not up double digits, kind of like you were in that Tennessee game, they made a run towards the end. So you're going to have to start really figuring out how you're going to finish these basketball games, whether you're running more sets, getting more ball movement, or doing something different, because just dribbling into the paint without a plan, you're going to find yourself in a lot of turnover high situations and giving the other team easy looks at the basket.
Okay, last thing on this segment. In the next segment, we will talk about some of the really good stuff that we did see last night. But I want your opinion, because this has been the overwhelming theme from the fan base, is what is your thoughts on 3 games in a row, a pretty sizable foul discrepancy between LSU and their SEC opponents?
I think it'd be easy for me to sit here and say, oh, man, they're just giving us bad calls. But I just, some of those last night were fouls. I think there was a couple calls that went the wrong way for us. But for the most part, I think that's just how we play. We play aggressive. You see the percentage they're shooting from the field. You see the amount of turnovers they have. I think that's just our style of play. You got those offensive foul, which counts against the foul count. I think some of those I'm going to have to agree with. So I think it's more style of play. Now, I'm not saying it should be that high. I think it could be a little less, but I think that's the style of play, and that's just how they've been doing it.
It's difficult on its face to look at the numbers and not see a massive statistical anomaly developing. Like if you look at the numbers, you would say this doesn't make any sense. I mean, I could go as far as to say, look, Alabama shot 34 threes last night. LSU shot 22 of them. LSU is shooting far more shots at the rim and driving in, and the foul numbers are 25 from LSU and 10 from Alabama. That's hard to justify when you look at it on its face. The same thing goes for the Arkansas game. When you looked up, it was 7 fouls to 0. This one was 10 fouls to 0. That is difficult to comprehend. But I will stick to this. I thought the refs did a very poor job of consistency last night, but I thought it was on both sides. I thought the Imwani block at the end that both Carl Ravitch and Jimmy Dykes said was a clean block. All I saw were 2 guys fly, hip check each other in the air, and Imwani come crashing down with 2 arms and catch some of his head. Like, that looks like a foul to me. I tweeted out he could have gotten arrested for it. Like, I thought that was a terrible call. There's way too much contact there. And then they go ahead and call Efton for a bump on a moving screen 25 feet out, 30 feet out. Like, I thought they were inconsistent and bad most of the night. But when I'm watching the game, I don't see total whiffs by LSU that are called a foul, and then on the other end, hammer jobs that are not called when LSU's driving. Like, I don't see it as that egregious. The totality of the 3-game sample size is difficult to explain, and I will certainly admit that. But I believe, as I said on the podcast this morning, that 70 to even 75% of this are due to LSU's aggressiveness and reputation as a defensive team that are getting you these whistles. And there may be 25% of it that's subconscious from these guys that I don't know. It's hard to describe. I don't think they're going in the gym saying, Will Wade cheats at recruiting. We're screwing him today. I don't think they say that. I don't think they say, I hate LSU. Will Wade yells too much. I don't think they do that. I think that you just are so aggressive, picking teams up so much that you're fouling more than the other teams. But again, it's tough for me to sit here and totally explain it away because it's a drastic number.
Yeah, it's a huge number. And I think for LSU on the offensive side, I think it's hard for sometimes to get those fouls when you turn the ball over at the level that they do, and then guys aren't really going to the goal aggressively. I think Gaines, a lot of times he just seems like he didn't have a plan when he was trying to get some of those layups, and there were bad heavily contested looks, and he's not getting those foul calls. And for whatever reason, on the other side, they're getting their calls. They're getting deep post position, and they're getting those calls. I just think for LSU, especially Efton Reed, he's going to have to figure out that foul situation. Seems like night in and night out, especially since SEC play started. He finds himself in foul trouble time and time again. So I don't know what they're going to have to do. Talk to him, change his playing style, but you got your big man that you brought into town for a reason. You got to have him out there getting rebounds and doing the things you need to do, because the offensive rebound, that issue isn't going away either. So you're going to have to figure out a way to shorten these, especially if you're going to be fouling this much in these possessions, and go the other way, because if they're getting offensive rebounds and you're fouling, now you're setting yourself up for failure on a high level.
A lot of basketball left, but it's just frustrating when you feel like you have a chance to go there and win in Tuscaloosa, despite a lot of adversity, and you don't get it done.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor, hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. We'll see you next time.